Okay, welcome to day 3 of our week on visioning, and our second week in the overall topic of planning our outcome or dreaming with the lid off. And hopefully, you enjoyed the first 2 days of that, the guided meditation, and the overall kind of what to expect and some inspiration with that. Today, I want you to think about writing letters. And this is going to be an interesting exercise. I'm including a podcast that'll be linked below from one of my favorite coaches. I have been following her for years and years since she was just, somebody like me, just starting out and being brave and doing a podcast and really setting big goals for herself. Dreaming with the lid off, like she has really led by example. Her name is Brooke Castillo, and she has a podcast called The Life Coach School. And she put it out there before the Life Coach School even existed. She is one of the best teachers I know on talking about this relationship with your multiple selves. And does it in a way, at least that has been very relatable to me. And I've done this exercise many times myself, and it's been a few years since I've done it myself, or a couple of years. So I think I'm even going to go through it with you and enjoy doing it because it is something that is really interesting to do. So hopefully, if you haven't done that guided meditation yet, maybe just listen to today's. Well, you can do you. Actually, this is your own it journey. You own it. You get to decide where you start, what resonates with you, and I'm going to trust your path. You trust your path and where you are. There's no right way to do this. I'm just introducing some methodologies to you and some different approaches to help you expand your mind. Now, one of the things that Brooke recommends doing, especially if you're like, I don't know, this seems a little too weird. I am not a dreamer. I'm not a planner. I don't do this. Write a letter to your past self, maybe your 17, 18-year-old self. That might help you because that girl, I mean, you were her. You've already been her. And you can tell her, because you've been through it, maybe don't do this. Maybe you should avoid that. And, all those, you could give her some really good advice. I know I would give myself what the things I would write to my 17-year-old self. But that exercise, and even if you only do it mentally, I really do encourage you to get out your pen and paper. It doesn't need to be anything fancy, whatever you've got. If you've got an Own It journal, or just grab some paper, go to your printer and get, unlined paper. And you can even doodle. Like, don't limit yourself with just words. It doesn't have to be. And this is for your eyes only, unless you want to share it. And you're free to even upload that through the dashboard if you want to type it, or even scan a handwritten thing and send it, maybe even for accountability or feedback, whatever. But feel free to doodle, to dream. And then, so once you go through that past self exercise, then you can kind of understand, oh, I really do have a relationship with myself that's other than me in this present moment. And the future you is tomorrow. I have even written my letters to myself from the morning self to the evening self, because boy, those are two different people. The person who's well rested in the morning, or at least better rested than the evening self, and whose brain is fresh and not doesn't have decision fatigue and all the things that can happen in a day. That is also a really interesting exercise to do. But we're here talking about the future. So I'm just bringing up that example to help you, think about this. So you can write a letter to your future self and imagine maybe asking her, like, what do you need me to do? Or here I'm dreaming. I know, I envision maybe where we're going to live. If you're married, who you're married to, if it's your current spouse, how you guys are getting along. What do you look like? What are you wearing? what's going on in your life? How much money do you have? Do you have a business? Are you working? Are you able to dedicate your time full time to a passion or a hobby? Like, really, start to think about those things. And then you can also write a letter, since now you've thought, hopefully, and even done the exercise when you go through this, do the letter from the present self to the past self. Now you can put yourself in the future self's position, be her, because you really are her already, and have her tell you, okay, this is what I need you to do. This is how you're going to get here. And interestingly enough, I'll even share just a little personal story and to show you how powerful this is. And you all, if you do one-on-one coaching with me, you may have even experienced me asking you some of these questions, because this is what coaching is really about. It's me helping you access your own wisdom. We all have it in here. And that's what coaching is all about. Me just helping you access it. And not doing it for you. You're here to do the work. It's your journey. It's you that gets to own it. But I was actually having lunch with my son today, and he was in a place where he was like, I don't know, and this, and he was just in that headspace of feeling a little bit overwhelmed. And so I just asked him a really simple question, like, okay, if I were to talk to you a week from now and you were feeling better and more calm, what's the difference there? What would you have done within that week to be feeling better and more in control of your schedule? He immediately knew. He knew, even though he was sitting there in the present telling me, I don't know, and I can't, and it's hard, and blah, blah, blah. He knew what he needed to do. But it's the things sometimes we don't want to do, or we're feeling pressure from out here and we get caught in the people pleasing and what would people expect, and can I do that, and the self-doubt and the blah 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 blah. But we know what we need to do. And do you know what? And I didn't do anything. I walked him through kind of coaching himself, just asked a few good questions because I'm a good coach, and he had his own answers. And within even a couple of hours of that conversation, I was getting text messages. Oh, that's like, I'm feeling so much better. And I already feel like he was getting his mojo back. So just think, if a little exercise like that, and that's even a tool that you can use too, you can use for yourself, is to calm yourself down. You always have access to your future self. And we have evidence even from our past self. We can go back and go, okay, I know what to do here right now, but it's we kind of get stuck in ourselves, like our current isness. And we're like, okay, but we have access to our own wisdom, and we can have the ability through our imagination to go and then access the wisdom right there. It's so interesting how we can do this with ourselves and get ourselves unstuck. But that type of dreaming too, and doing this exercise and really developing that relationship with yourself, like it's not just some other random person out there. This is you, your life, your future self is depending on you to stick with it and do some things. And what seems hard now will be easy later. Like that's already on autopilot. So I'm willing to do that hard work for her so she can focus on what she needs to do. And then we keep going. And then we have a life by design that we're proud of, that we know is kind of operating in our zone of genius, what God called us to. We're showing up as our best selves for our people that we love and able to actually love them better. We show up to life with more energy. Like this is how you bring life to your life, by getting connected to that future self and thinking more long term. And because our current self is like, I'm tired, I don't want to do that, I don't know. but we do know. And it's worth taking the time to do some organizing and thinking things through. And so this whole letter writing process can be a real adventure. So I invite you to also take a listen to Brooke. She mentioned something in her podcast called The Model. And if you all want to know about that, it's one of my favorite tools. We can, maybe I'll introduce that in one of our future modules. But I really like her a lot. And she has changed my life. And I am where I am. And I've done some of the work that I've done because of listening to people like her and realizing, people that are an example of what is possible and that help me get out of my own self-doubt and access my wisdom that God has gifted us all with. He speaks to us through our thoughts and our desires. It's our own egos that come in and go, I don't know. Is that, I don't know. So anyway, that's all I'm going to say today. Enjoy the exercise and let me know what you think.